All right. Good day, people. Good day, legend, and I believe we are all good. And yeah, so um, the reason why I'm doing this video right now is due to the fact on the message I've received based on my last video on YouTube. Okay, and then before I continue, uh, for those of you that have subscribed, I want to say a very big thanks to you for the support, and may God bless you in our notification. And if you know you've not subscribed, please kindly do so. And then if you are new to this channel, I want to say welcome. I want to say you're welcome as well. Okay, and make sure you stay with us. And then even as you are subscribing, okay, so make sure you click on the notification bell so that you will not have to miss out on any of her updates. All right, now going back to the reason why I making this video, okay, is due to the fact like it's based on messages I received based on my last video. All right, now I'll be showing us some things and how I was able to achieve that particular stuff I did on the video, okay, I posted earlier. All right, now there are things I consider in which I will be showing us. Okay, there are so many stuff I want to talk about, but I will make sure I make this video as short as possible. Okay, so first thing I have to consider is okay, here. All right, so as you can see, I titled this thing my back end. Okay, because so many persons have asked me a question that how do I do this and how do I able to achieve all those things I do. Okay, and some people go ahead to tell me, ask me how do I read and those kind of stuff. All right, yeah, so I'm going to be answering those questions on this video. Okay, because it is kind of weird and strange whereby you see me doing a tutorial on a tax that was released today. Okay, so like I am supposed to be doing that tax as well, but then I'll end up doing my own tax and then still go on to organize a meeting based on the tax and start teaching people. So if you look to it, it's kind of weird and strange. Okay, it's not because I have knowledge about this stuff. Like I always tell people, I don't have any knowledge about ALS, about what they do in ALS. For example, this C we are doing, I have no knowledge about C. Okay, all those GIT, all those stuff, shared navigation and all, I don't know about them before I enter ALS. Okay, so that aside, now this is what I do. Okay, and then I'm going to be explaining this everything here bit by bit. All right, so as you can see, number one here says passion. Now passion. Okay, now if you check, or maybe if you find out, or if you want to know what passion is, all right, now passion is nothing but a strong emotion. Okay, a strong or powerful emotion, okay, on something. All right, now the reason why most of us register for ALS is based on the fact that we have passion, okay, for the ALS software engineering program. Okay, so we want to become something, okay, outside the world we are. All right, so it is the strong emotion, okay, that made us to even go ahead to register at the first place. Okay, so that you are here means you are passionate about the HLS software engineering. But that is not enough. That is not enough. Now, only the passion, because passion is just based on emotion. Okay, so only the passion won't take you anywhere. So because of that, you will need something called commitment. As you can see, the second point here is commitment. All right, and then what does commitment does? It helps you to nurture your emotion. Okay, because if you go in with only your passion, you are going to fall off or log out. Okay, so you need something more than just those powerful emotions for you to be able to like continue. All right, and that is commitment, and commitment happens to be the driving force of passion. All right, so what drives your passion towards your goal is your commitment. Okay, so you will need commitment. Okay, if you want to go far with your passion, but then again, commitment towards your passion is still not enough. Okay, if you, because this thing varies, so if you can decide to be committed on something for just a period of time, and then when you get tired you just pull out. Okay, so if you pull out, it's going to, your action is going to affect that which you started with. Okay, that which you are passionate of. All right, but then what keep your commitment? Okay, commitment is like doing. All right, so what keep your commitment is your consistency. Okay, so when you are consistently doing that which you are passionate of, okay, so that is what we determine the value of that thing you are going in for. Okay, now as you can see, I said consistency here means the driving force of value. Okay, so what actually give values to that stuff you are passionate of, which you have committed yourself on, is the consistency. Okay, so there's passion, there is commitment, and then there is consistency. Okay, so these three things go in order. All right, so you shouldn't take one out of one. All right, so everything here needs to go hand in hand. Okay, so if I'm to group this thing, I would say the consistency is your repo. All right, the commitment is your directory, now your root directory. Now the passion itself is the file. Okay, so if you take the commitment out of the repo, your file will also leave. Okay, because your file needs your commitment, and then your commitment needs your consistency. So your file needs your directory to rest on, and your directory needs your repo to rest on. So because at the end you are going to be pushing all these things towards your repo. Okay, now another thing is this is mindset. All right, so even with all this, if you are not going with the right mindset, you are going to miss it completely. Okay, left for me, I don't believe there's anything impossible. Okay, so no matter how the thing seems hard to, like how it appears to be hard, okay, so I always believe there is always a way out. Okay, there's always a way out. So even if everybody is saying something or trying to say something is hard, I always believe that so I always believe that there is nothing impossible though, so everything seems to be possible. All right, now that is the right mindset that I would love all of us to have. Okay, now the next thing here is execution. So this execution is what will lead us to how we approach our tasks, our projects. Okay, so let's check our, okay, so here we are. Now the moment to give you, this is our task for yesterday, which is even more pointers, arrays, and strings. Okay, So pointers, arrays, and string is an extension from the previous statuses. Pointer, arrays, and string. Okay, so this one is even more pointer, array, and string. Okay, now after so you want to make sure you check everything first, the concept, okay, and then go to your resources and check through your requirements and all that. All right, so my where I want to talk about is the tax itself. All right, now this is how I was able to achieve that. All right, so outside the back end, this is how I was able to achieve what I did on that my last video. Okay, like the confidence, okay, and everything. Okay, so now first thing here is to, now what I look out for first, if you have been following my teaching, I said if you want to approach any project on HLS, one thing you should look out for is the box. Okay, so you make sure to analyze every single section of the box. Okay, so now after checking all these things, what I first of all look out for is, or what I want to do first is creating my source file. So I call this thing source file. Okay, now I call this source file, and then I call this the main file. Okay, so I call this the main file. All right, now the first thing I will want to do is that I will want to create this guy here. This my main file here. Okay, so I'm going to create this my main file here. All right, no, sorry, that was a mistake. I'm going to be creating this my source file here, because that is what I need to create first. All right, so if I create this, okay, by how we do it now. So if I come here, sorry, so if I come here and then as you can see, I've already created the file here, which is 0, this guy here. Okay, so if I come here and then I vi into that particular file, which is 0 name set, okay, let's see. So what I'll do is I'm going to create this particular stuff here first. Okay, so after doing this, all right, so after doing this, I'll make sure I do all the arrangement needed for me to do, because you have to write everything here so that Betty will be able to approve your work. Okay, so after everything, you want to save. How do you save? Like insert, escape, and colon WQ. All right, so when you save, that's not all. Now you will want to Betty check. Okay, so you make sure you that. So the first thing is to write your content inside your file. Now the second thing is to what is to Betty check. All right, let me, I think I put out something as regard to that. All right, so this is my approach. This is my approach. Okay, now the first thing, as you can see here, is creating the readme.md. so for every of the tags they will be giving you, okay, you might be working on the same repository, but then you'll be asked to create a different what is it called, directory. Okay, so for instance, if you check here, you can see from hello world to variable if sy, for function necess loop, for debugging, more function necess loop, pointer array strings, okay, and then this other one, which is 0.07 pointer array strings. Okay, now the first one is pointer array string, the second one is more pointer array string, then the third one here is even more pointer array string. Okay, now if you open up these things one after the other, you notice that it contains readme. Okay, outside the readme on the repository, because you need a readme to talk about that aspect of your project that you want to carry out at that particular point in time. Okay, so you want to be creating readme on every of your directory. Okay, because every of your projects will request you to work on different directory. Okay, which will be your root directory, because every of your project need a root directory, so you will need to create talk about that particular project in that your root directory. So that is the essence of readme. Okay, .md. I've already talked about the essence, the reason why readme, and then the reason why our readme should always be a non-readme a non-empty readme file, okay, and not empty file. All right, because readme is just talk about our project, okay, and then our projects we always come in or go in with a directory called the root directory. So we want to be creating our readme on our root directory. All right, so that's that for that. Now talking about Betty, now let's go back to like I was saying here. I said after creating your file, creating your content inside your file, and then you save and leave your text editor, so you will want to Betty check, okay, your the stuff you just the file you just created with the contents. Okay, now how do you do that? Now you're going to Betty and then the name of the file itself. So if I go in with main set, okay, .c. Now let me confirm whether I'm working with the right file. Okay, 0, look at it here. Okay, so let's so I will want to Betty check by doing this. Now if I am correct, as you can see I am correct, so Betty is going to tell you to go ahead. All right, but then that is not enough. Okay, that is not enough. Now you want to go and now let's check our second point here. So after the Betty, so recheck your file, because sometimes I can decide to create the name of the file might be 0 memset.c. So I might made a mistake by creating 0 men set.c. Funny enough, Betty is going to give you a go ahead, going to check it, because that is so like Betty is only interested in what you are writing inside the file. If it collocates to the Betty style of coding, it's going to approve it. Okay, whether the name of the file is abc or heydb or anything, is going to approve it. But then you will encounter issues, okay, if you want to compile that particular file. So when, as you can see here, I said recheck your file, so you have to recheck whether what the name of the file is correct or not. Okay, so after that you can now go to the next one, which is GCC. So that's where you will now do what you now compile. All right, so during compilation, and how do you compile? Now if you come here, okay, now checking inside this box. Okay, now so how do you compile? First of all, you will need to create this file first. Okay, so if you create this file, how do you do that? You vi, okay, and then so you vi and then 0, as you can see, main.c. okay, so when you vi, you are going to write the content inside this file, and that content is what is inside here, starting from this include directives. Okay, I have already thought about this stuff here, so you are going to copy everything here, okay, and make sure you get to this. All right, so this closing parenthesis, and then before, make sure you do not copy this one along with it. Okay, make sure you end with this particular guy here. Okay, so when you do that, you will want to go and copy that inside. So when you vi, then you paste this there, and then make sure you do your arrangement well. If not, Betty will not check it. Okay, make sure you do arrangement in accordance to Betty coding style. So after that, you will want to escape and then save your work. Okay, now after that, you still need to Betty check that particular 0 main.c. okay, so if I do that here, if Betty give me go ahead, that means I am good. So I have basically used Betty on my source file and then on my main .c file. Okay, so if that means Betty, I can now go further, okay, by introducing the next option here, which is what now GCC. So how do I do that? Now I'm going to go back to the tags, okay, and then copy this GCC here. Okay, I copy this GCC here and then put it here. Okay, now as you can see, you have the 0 main.c, you have the main set.c, and then we are going to be giving us output of 0 and main set. Okay, now if I'm going to copy this thing here. All right, so if I copy this thing here and then and come here, then paste. Okay, now to eradicate white space, because I don't like taking all this kind of chances, so I will want to delete this last letter here and then retype it. Okay, so if there's any white space here, it's going to eradicate that. Now if I hit send, as you can see, it went to, goes to the next line directly. So that means my compilation worked. So basically I have satisfied Betty and then I'll satisfy the GCC. So at this point, okay, I cannot go ahead to git add. All right, as you can see here, so I cannot go ahead to git add, commit, and then push on the repo directory, because that's what I always do. So before I can git add and commit, I have to one step backward like this, and then I am in on my repo. So from here I can git add, commit, and then push to my repository, as you've seen on the video I posted earlier. Okay, so basically if you follow this step carefully, there is no how your checker won't check your work. There is no how your checker won't check your work, because if there could be any mistake, GCC is going to point that out. So if you are using GCC, so GCC will cross check both your source file and then your main file. Okay, so it's going to check both your source file and then your main file. All right, so this happened so let me see whether I can highlight that. Okay, I can't. So your source file, okay, is 0memset.c, and then your main file is 0main.c. okay, so it's going to check both file if you are using GCC. So if there's any error as regard to those files, it's going to point them out. But Betty will only check whichever file that you want it to check. Okay, it cannot check both at once. So if you are creating the first source file, if you use Betty will only check that file. If you are creating the main.c file and you use Betty is going to check only the main.c file. But when using GCC, it's going to go through both files. So if you have any error, okay, so it's going to give you show you where the error is coming from. So when I was teaching on debugging, I showed us how you can read errors and then resolve errors. Okay, so maybe I'll do a separate video on that, and then even the Betty style of coding. So but then if you follow these steps carefully, you will not be having issue. So you'll be able to do that stuff I did on my last video, okay, confidently. All right, it take a lot of confidence. All right, it take a lot of hard work and all for me to be able to pull out that thing. Okay, because even if you know the stuff, you might end up inside one kind of stuff like that. So it's not easy. All right, it's not easy. It takes a lot of confidence for me to be able to pull out that kind of stuff. Okay, and I don't think I've seen anything like that before. Okay, so that is that. So if you be able to follow this my step, you will not be having any issue. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and if you have not subscribed, please do so before you leave, and then make sure you turn on the notification bell as well, so that you will not miss any of these updates. All right, so see you on my next video, and God bless you.